Hello and welcome to episode 43 of the True to Life podcast. In this episode, I'm joined by NCAA Division I track and field athlete Logan Patete. He's a runner for the University of Texas. I reached out to him just on Instagram and we got connected like about a week ago, and really excited that we made this happen and we're gonna get to hear all about his story. So Logan, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to do this.
Awesome. So just to get started off, what inspired you to get into running and pursue it at the college level?
I actually started running when I was super young. I grew up playing every sport. I played football, I played baseball, I played soccer, I did wrestling as well.
Hmm.
But it was actually my mother when I was really young. She wanted to do a turkey trot when I was like 7 or 8. So we started walking together around the neighborhood, and then we started jogging. Then I started then I started running and like leaving her behind. And I fell in love. I fell in love with the sport very quickly. It put me in a track program when I was real young, and it was something I've always enjoyed. It became it's one of those passions I discovered like at a very young age. I knew I wanted to go to college probably like in actually pretty much most of my life. Like, I wanted to be running in college because my goal since I was real young, after watching the 2012 Olympic Games, I wanted to go to the Olympics. I'd met Leo Manzano, who is the silver medalist from 2012 in the 1500,
Oh wow.
and he's actually a UT alum. But I met him when I was real young, and that really inspired me as well.
So at what point did you start refining down what events you ran? Because obviously when you're young, you're just kind of experiencing with the sport. Like at what
Yeah.
age did you start like picking your specific races and events?
So I was thrown to the 2 mile real early. I'm a pretty thin guy, lean guy. So I was definitely like always in that area. So growing up, it would be I'd run clubs. So I'd run the 3K and I'd run the 1500, and sometimes the 800, but usually the 3K and the 1500. And then in the middle of my freshman year, tried out the 800. I ran really really good 800. I ran 159, and then I was like, okay, like 800 is my thing. Like this is
Yeah.
great. I did the steeplechase for the first time, which is not really like a high school event. It's usually like just a college thing. Like very not many meets have it. But I happened to do an AAU meet that was like, hey, you should try this. It could be fun. And I tried it, and it was really fun.
Yeah.
So I continued to like find little meets throughout the rest of high school in order to be able to compete in that.
Mm. So did you grow up running? First of all, where did you grow up? Like where's your high school
Yeah,
at? Yeah, just some background.
I was born in Altoona, Pennsylvania, which is like central PA. It's like a couple hours from Pittsburgh. But I actually moved down to Round Rock and Cedar Park, Texas, 10 years ago.
Okay.
So I went to Leander High School. I consider Cedar Park my home at this point. So I've been there, same area code as Austin. So people know from Austin. I say it's Austin. But yeah,
So,
I've grown up there.
so thinking for that, I mean, you're going to university in Texas. So how does that feel? Like living there for the last 10 years and now having that opportunity. I mean, that must feel really great.
Yeah, it's a dream come true. I did not expect to be here, and it's wonderful. I'm nearby my family. I'm nearby my community. I get to represent my home. I get to represent people that I love and care about, and it is an honor to and a privilege just to even be here at this wonderful school.
Absolutely. So what is the recruiting like for track and cross country? So in high school, obviously you're running with the school, you have track events. So are coaches at those events? Are there separate areas to get recruited? Like what was that process like for you at high school?
So my process in high school was really unique because of COVID. So
Okay.
COVID hit my junior year. Yeah, hit my junior year of high school.
Me too. Me too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It
a
was
it's
weird.
rough. It's rough. And the way it works, track is it's not about film like the other stuff. So coaches they'll come out to like state. They'll come out to like the real or nationals. They'll be at the bigger meets. I never made it to state or nationals
Yeah.
or any of the big meets. Actually, I went to Nike nationals as a senior, but I didn't do anything that was like noteworthy. But uh, they really look at times. So what I did is I signed up for like a recruiting agency, which honestly I didn't really need to do.
Mhm.
But it actually did put me in contact with the school I initially went to. I had one offer out of college or out of high school to the University of South Carolina Upstate, which is in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and it was Division I school was in the Big South Conference, and they coach looked at me, looked at my times. He said, "Okay, we'll take you for these times." And I looked at a couple other schools that were like, "Hey, I want to go to Colorado Boulder," and they were like,
Beautiful
"Your times aren't
campus.
good."
I like Boulder. Boulder's nice.
Beautiful day, beautiful day. But they're like, "Yeah, your times they're not good enough. Like, here's our standards. You got to hit these standards for us to even consider you." Uh, I, yeah, did not have those times.
Interesting. I never knew that the time. Like, obviously, it makes sense that times are such a big factor, but that's
Yeah.
like you would say that's like the number one thing that college, like, even at Division 1 level, that's the main thing they're looking at is can you hit these times. And then after that, are they looking at what kind of kid they are, their grades, things like that? Or at what point does the rest get kind of factored in?
The biggest thing is going to be the times. If you have the
Yeah.
times, you're most likely going to be taken. There are some. I mean, if you have some really like real character development that you need, they're probably you're not going to go anywhere. But I mean, especially at even here in Texas, like everybody is like super hardworking, super dedicated. Like all of my teammates are people who are like they really get after it, and the times are a huge reflection of that hard work and that drive. So everybody who's been recruited, like they've had that personality show. Like no, I guess like no one who's achieved that has like really done it easily, I guess.
Yeah, no, it completely makes sense. I think at what point on that call are they looking
Yeah.
for grades? Because like student athlete,
Yeah.
obviously they're looking at you how well you can perform. I mean, how quick into the
Yeah.
recruiting call are they checking to make sure that the academics are covered too?
Uh, Especially for a place like here, if you don't have the GPA, then they're not gonna really let you in. Like here, they're like especially at a school like Texas, it's very selective. I mean, the way it works for even our high schools, like if you're the top 6% of your class, like you get automatic admission.
Mm. Oh yeah.
And if you're not in that, it's like it's really hard to get in. My brother applied; he got waitlisted. A lot of friends that I grew up with, like they either got waitlisted or rejected. Uh, they they really expect like high quality grades, high quality essay. That's like I guess it's like it's kind of a given.
Yeah.
Like nobody's gotten in here with rough grades.
Yeah, that's understandable. So
Yeah,
I'm curious about what the typical training week looks like for you at the Division 1 level with during track season, during cross country season, or how they kind of mix together. I mean, I'd love for you to speak on that.
yeah, of course. So for us, we are training 6 to 7 days a week. Some people do 7. I like to do 6. I like to have my day of rest. I'm more worried about getting injured by running too much. The majority of us, we run a certain amount of miles per week. So for me, currently this week, I'm gonna be at about 80 miles. Some guys are gonna be in the 60s. Some guys are gonna be at 100 miles a week. And so that's usually broken up into doubles. So on like a Monday, it would be you wake up, you go run your miles, and then we would do drills and strides, which is just like slight pickups at the end of like the easy run. It's a lot of easy running, and then we would do our stretches, and then we would do a second run later in the evening to kind of like split up that mileage. And then on Tuesdays, we would have like a harder workout, whether that is like a longer tempo. Everybody would do that together.
Yeah.
We would do that, and that's all we'd have for the day. And then the next day would be an easier run, but it's a longer run. So usually don't double on that day. Still higher mileage day, and then we would have like weight session after that. We'd have weights on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Hmm.
Thursday would be the same day as Monday. Run, do drills, do strides, double later, and then Friday was another hard workout, and then weights right after that. And those are usually the killers. And then Saturday, some guys would run easy. I would usually take off, and then Sunday we have our long run. So that would be about 20% of our weekly mileage. So for me, with 80 miles, that's about 16 miles every
On
Sunday.
Sundays. Yeah. So I mean, thinking about all that training that would entail, and then obviously having the. So what is your major? That would be another. Yeah. What's your major right now?
So I'm studying applied movement science, which is it's like another word for exercise science, pretty much.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously you'll have work in that academics as well. So how do you
Yes.
balance and tie all that together with the components of being a student and athlete at the college level?
Well, the first thing that's been allowing me to balance it is just even the people that are supporting me. First off, the academic staff that we have. we have academic coordinators that they help plan our schedules, they plan it around our practices, and they try to like accommodate for our days. So even just like in preparation, like our scheduling gets a lot easier, and a little bit more manageable. And then in addition to that, I try to take a couple classes like online or at least hybrid, so that way I have a lot of time like independently to work on stuff. We have our own academic center actually inside the football stadium on the fifth floor. It's a fantastic place. We have tutors that also really help. So the resources there really help. And actually, our first year there, we have to be in like study hall for a certain amount of hours per week.
Yeah,
So
I
they
heard that
really
too.
they really drill in like the discipline. They're like, you're gonna be in here, you're gonna be doing your schoolwork, you're gonna be getting stuff done. Like they make us carve out time, and then those habits have played out into the rest of that time where it's like, oh, I'm setting aside this time uh, in order to do that.
No, I think one thing you hit like right on the head was like looking for and then utilizing the support that your school
Yeah,
has. I feel like that's one thing that student athletes might fall into is we kind of start drowning on our own, realizing that we do have a lot of support systems, and most
yeah,
schools have resources and tutoring available and things like that. So making sure we're looking for and taking advantage of the resources that our schools have to offer. And then I also like you mentioned the flexibility piece. I think that's really important with classes because that's one benefit of college. You
yeah,
get to pick your own classes, and because of Zoom, the rise of Zoom and COVID and all of that, it kind of
yeah.
made more hybrid class options, and I think it totally helps for that flexibility of being able to not have to be in person in class and be able to be on a computer or at a remote location. So those are two really great points.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If it were not for the resources, it would be a lot more difficult. It's really hard to manage that without any help.
No doubt. So reflecting back on your journeys thus far, what is your most memorable race or competition and why?
Most memorable race of my entire life. I was 16 years old. I was at the AAU Junior Olympic Championships. It was in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I was running the 2,000 meter steeplechase uh, at the national championship. And my goal was to break the age group record for AAU at that meet. And as soon as the gun went off, my shoe fell off, and
Oh
that's
no.
it was rough. Like it was the video, but it's fully tied. It slips right off like a slipper, like Cinderella slipper, just like gone.
Dang.
And I don't stop. I don't like if you stop within like 50 meters of the start, like they'll shoot the gun again. I didn't do that. I kept going. I didn't think about it. Uh, and 300 meters in, I jump into the first pit of water. On the steeplechase, there's a pit of water you jump into, and I'm wearing socks. Terrible idea. They're soaked. So I'm just running in. I'm running in one shoe and my sock. And I was like, screw this. I stop. I take off my sock. I take off both my socks, take off my shoe, and I run the whole thing barefoot. And I was that taking that off kind of slowed me to like to dead last. So I started in dead last, ran barefoot, came all the way, grinded throughout that entire race, was 0.01 seconds off of like an All American title. I was so close. It was like a photo finish. I got second-degree burns on my feet. I couldn't really walk for 2 weeks. It was brutal. My feet, I mean, like completely burnt up. Could not walk. But I remember that race so significantly because it was like I really wanted this goal. I didn't achieve it, but what I had like gained from that competition was like understanding like what my character is. It's like I will persevere through these challenges. Like I have a lot of perseverance. I'm like dedicated to pushing forward, and like I can overcome adversity. Running barefoot really sucks and it hurts. You'd think the water would like, cool it off, but it really doesn't. So it it was really memorable to me to be able to not like compete at that stage, but also like have that experience. I think that would have been a lot. That's a lot more significant than just winning or getting a record.
I honestly you said but my favorite part about this show and having these conversations is hearing these type of stories. I mean, would have never known something like that would have happened, and it definitely speaks to your character. I mean, like you said, they could have totally stopped the race 15 meters off, and but just saying that you wanted to just keep going and you were still that close even with those setbacks is really cool. Yeah. Wow. Um so what age are you in? Like what was this during high school? was this? Like, at what point
Yes.
was this?
It was after my sophomore year, the summer of my sophomore year. So I was 16 years old.
And there hasn't been any shoe slip since then.
There has, there has, because yeah. So actually, my first ever race that I ran, the turkey trot I ran with my mom, I lost a shoe. A
Man.
couple other times growing up, I lost a shoe. Middle school, lost a couple of shoes. Uh, for a while, I'd have like my dad or someone else tie my shoes for me because I would be like paranoid. I was like, well, like I can't do it myself. Like I guess I missed that part in kindergarten, but even in college, last year, my sophomore year of college, I was in Boston at BU, and somebody actually stepped on my heel, and they stepped on the heel like perfectly to where like it slips out, like my toe's still in, but the heel's out, and it just like ended up just slipping off, and I had to run without a shoe for that race.
Well, I mean, you see, this might just be something that's following you along, the shoe slip. I mean, that might be your
Yeah,
signature.
not a fun
um,
thing, but yeah, it's memorable.
yeah, no doubt. So, wanting to speak to some of the challenges and growth that you've experienced as a runner, what are some of the biggest challenges you face as a student athlete, and in what ways have you worked to overcome them? Minus shoe slipping.
The hardest is going to definitely be identity, uh, especially like so. So it's like backtrack. When I was in high school, as a freshman in high school, the coach that was like my high school coach at the time, she told me that I was not going to break 16 minutes in the 5K. I thought I wanted to go to Texas. She's like, "You're not going to go to Texas." Uh, and a lot of my time there, part of that team, she put me down a lot. She'd be like, "You're not going to do this. You're not good enough," which is very like very different than like what coaches normally do. They normally
Yeah.
build you up, and that experience really stuck to me because I internalized that. I was like, oh, like I'm not good enough as a runner. I'm not a good runner. And at that point, I saw a lot of my validation through that, based on my performance, which is like a super slippery slope.
Yeah.
It's super destructive. And so when I came out of high school and I had times that would not get me to where I am now, a lot of people that are like, well, he's done, like he's I don't know. Like I went to a school really far away from my family, to pursue this dream and this goal of running on a big stage. And throughout the whole time, I'm questioning. It's like, why am I here? I'm not doing what I want to do. I'm not good enough, and the whole it just weighs on you, and just like I'm not good enough as a runner. Well, then I'm not good enough as a person. I'm not good enough as this. What's my point of even like
Avalanche.
being here? Yeah. And what really overcame that, it was not coming to Texas. Coming to Texas was a huge blessing, and it really like it did fuel the ego like a little bit, but it was super. I mean, it was a huge blessing, but that's not what fixed. That's not what overcame that. Because coming here, it became imposter syndrome. It became, look at these Olympians, look at these people. They went to state and high school. They won national championships. They have these records, and look at me. Like I didn't have any of that, and that was a huge thing to deal with. I didn't really think I belonged for a while. I felt like a Make a Wish kid coming on the team. Like they kind of just like, oh, like we'll let you be on for a little bit. But it's a huge blessing to be here, and I started to change my mindset. I started to tell myself, well, no, you do belong here. You were chosen to be here. You earned this spot. You worked for it. You ran the times. You competed the way you needed to compete. And it takes a lot of time to tell yourself that over and over and over again. But that's a lot of times what it takes. In addition to that, learning to seek my validation from something outside of sport, because placing my identity in my sport, it's there's days where it's super high, so I'm doing super great, and days where I'm doing super bad, and then it's really based on my circumstances. So for me, like a big part of my life is my faith as a Christian. So placing my faith in Jesus, who is much bigger than sport, much bigger than life, and who has been there with me and provided these things for me. It's given me like a love, joy, and peace that I cannot get from sport. Like it's that like I could win every race and still not be satisfied, but the love, joy, and peace I get from Christ, like that is what has satisfied me and allowed me to be comfortable and proud of my identity.
Mm. I mean, yeah, wow. That's huge. I mean, overcoming I always call it the avalanche. I mean, it starts with the self-talk, finding something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
Who did you have to help, like, mentor and teach you, or is this something that you just learned on your own, like just through trial and error?
There have been a couple like really influential people in my life. A lot of them, a couple of them. I mean, one. My dad has always been a fantastic role
Mhm.
model. Two, there were a couple really important men, especially as I grew older. I was involved in Young Life a lot growing up. My Young Life leader, his name's Kenny. He was a really influential guy. Guy who I'm been working a lot with now and been involved with is the guy who runs Athletes in Action here in Austin. His name's DJ. Also a wonderful, wonderful guy. Uh, and then even just like those guys personally have all like played a significant role in that. I had a couple other coaches growing up besides the high school coach that was real mean. I had my club coach. He was fantastic. Uh, the coach of my old college as well was someone who really believed in me, and that was something that really contributed to that.
No, no doubt. I think having a good support system definitely helps a lot.
Yeah,
And I think something you're speaking to is huge of having you can't I think I wrote it down. Like seeking the performance based validation, it's going to be a slippery slope as an athlete because you're going to have those
yeah,
good days and you're going to have those bad days. So
yeah,
I think you hit that on the head. Like as student athletes, we can't be getting tied to our performance. Yes, we want to perform well, we want to play well.
yeah,
Obviously, we want to do well in our sport, but we can't be feeling validated through that. We have to find other ways to, feel good about ourselves in our craft and our sport and in life because the sports are done at some point in time, and we have to be able to navigate what life's going to be like after that at some time as well. So I think
yeah.
that was very well said.
Thank you, thank you.
So you already spoke to a little bit about the support you have now, University of Texas, with academic support, with like the tutoring and things like that. Is there anything else you wanted to add in terms of like the teammate coaching atmosphere and how important that is now that you're at Texas? You're like kind of at a fresh slate now, and really good position right now at the University of Texas. So, how important is that environment for your success, like currently as a student athlete?
I believe that your environment shapes you, like wherever you're at. The environment that we have, like that has been cultivated at the University of Texas, and not just through track and field and cross country, but across like all sports, is very much like we are going to win. We are going to give like everything we have. Like the a mantra that is told to us is like the winning tradition of the University of Texas will not be entrusted to the timid or the weak.
Mm,
Uh, everybody that's here at this school is very dedicated, is very driven. A lot of my teammates, like I thought I was a super hard worker, and I'll show up to practice. I'll see these guys like they're running crazy amounts of mileage. They're running it fast. They're doing all of the stretches. They're doing all of the core. They're very like they have a lot of intention with everything they do. And to be surrounded by so many people who are like that, and so many people who also they want to go run for professional teams. They want to run on the like for the Olympics. They want to go win NCAA titles. Like uh, a lot of really like-minded people uh, allows for you to like kind of like push each other to those things and support each other for those things because everybody gets it. Like everybody gets it. Everybody understands the struggle. They understand the grind. Someone can't hang out. They got to go to bed at 9 o'clock. Like no one's putting them down for it. It's like, yeah, we got to go to bed at 9 o'clock too. Like it's we got to wake up. We got to wake up at 5:30 to go run. So
yeah,
that dynamic is great, and the coaches they're very big about like we want to bring the best out of you. We like you guys are fantastic athletes, and we know that you guys can do big things, and they really push us toward that.
I think that's an amazing team culture to have. I mean, just the whole like saying iron sharpens iron and just your
Yeah,
environment, like you spoke about too, is also important. I actually just recorded a solo podcast about your environment and that quote, like you're a sum of like the 5 or 6 people you spend the most time with, like you're an average of that.
yeah,
So, being around a whole bunch of people that are constantly leveling you up is really, really, really good for your development. So I think
yeah,
that's amazing and definitely it sounds like a great place to be as a student athlete.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely.
So now pivoting and talking about some future goals and advice. So what are your short-term and long-term goals currently? You could speak to life, academics, or athletics, however wherever you want to go with it. But like, what are your short-term and long-term goals as of right now?
So short term, short term, just focusing on the cross country season. We're in the SEC this year, so it's a whole new division, whole new conference, and everybody is kind of. I mean, we're gonna start to figure out like, okay, like where do we want to be? And obviously, we want to be winning as a team. Last year, I did not get to contribute to that during cross country. I got injured at the beginning of the year,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah.
it took a long time before I was. By the time I was really healthy, the season was coming to an end, so I didn't really get the opportunity to contribute the way that I wanted to. So this year, short term goal for cross country, I want to be contributing in every way. I want to be on the top five traveling. I want to score points. I want to help get our team to a top 10 finish at the NCAA championships. But help contribute to getting our team as close to an SEC championship as possible, and being there not just performance wise, but also be someone who can like help encourage the guys around me and push everybody else. Not just be a great athlete, but a great teammate. So that's the big thing. Throughout track in the rest of the year, I want to break 4 minutes in the mile. It's been I've been so close for so long. I've done some workouts that are like it shows I can do it, and that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I want to have the sub four title to my name. I also want to be able to. I mean, I want to shoot for an SEC championship for the 3,000 meter steeple. I love the steeple. I want to perform to the best of my ability, and I want to be an All-American in the spring toward the summer at the NCAA championships for it.
Actually, I'm hearing so many goals, and it's a reflection of why you are at the Division I level right now. Is having so many,
Yeah.
constantly. Like, how often are you, keeping these notes down in your head or down on paper? Like, I'm curious, and for those listening.
I think about this. I think about it every day. I also try to make sure that the things that I pour into my mind are things that encourage and support that. Because like what you think is like what you become. So I mean, but like if I said I want to be a linebacker, I'm not going to be a linebacker. So like take that with a grain of salt. But most of the time, like what you think is what you become. So I think, okay, I want to be this kind of runner. I want to be this kind of successful person. I have to be able to visualize that and believe I can. If you're at the starting line and you're saying I can't do this, or I don't know if I can do this, you're already at a losing battle. A lot of the winning comes in the preparation, not just physically but mentally beforehand. So I have pictures of trophies and people winning championships I'm constantly seeing, so I can constantly feel it. I constantly watch like videos of other athletes, even like older cross country championships, track championships, of people winning and people like fighting to the end, so I can like visualize what that feels like. I imagine myself in that spot, and then I also have reminders on my phone to kind of like check my mind every couple hours and be like, okay, like if I'm spiraling in a real negative direction, which is easy, it's really easy to do.
Yeah.
I set that reminder to like kind of check my mind of like, okay, where are you at right now? Where's your heart? Where's your mind? Is it focused on something that is good, that is true, that is loving, that is like peaceful? And a lot of that has allowed me to be able to focus on those goals, and then also to alleviate any outside life stresses.
No doubt. I think goal setting is one of the most important things that we can do. I spoke about it on this podcast a lot too. So I love it when
Yeah,
guests, without being prompted, echo that. So I mean, I appreciate that. Um,
absolutely.
so if you could give like a quick, say you're in the elevator with a high school athlete and they're asking you for advice on how to compete at the college level, what are you telling them before you have to get off at your next stop on the elevator?
In a super brief summary, you're better than you think you are. Everybody's better than they think you are. A lot of people, they tell themselves like they set too small of limits. I think that we don't set big enough limits for ourselves. My high school PR in the mile was 4:34, and it didn't break 4:30 in high school. A lot of people, they get to that time and they would quit right there. Within a year, I ran 3:52 for the 1500, which converted to a mile is like around like 4:10ish, or like give or take. Which is a huge jump. You don't really see that too often. But a lot of it's like you are better than you think you are, and a lot of high schoolers, they see other guys running a little bit faster than them. A lot of kids are running real fast right now, and it's really easy to get caught up in that or think I'm not good enough, think I can't do this, I'm not capable. There's so many stories of people being able to accomplish big things in a quick amount of time. We limit ourselves mentally. We are better than we think we are.
I think that would definitely give someone confidence in knowing that. I would add a caveat: you still got to do the work. But absolutely,
I fully agree. I fully agree.
100%. So, you personally, what do you do to unwind and relax on those days that you're not training or studying? What is that? What works for you?
I love really being involved in community. A lot of times that'll be either with my friends, that'll be with my girlfriend, that may be with my family, with my teammates, and that will be just spending time with them, uh, and whatever like way that is. In the city of Boston, there's so many things to do, so it's really easy to go out and go to like a new place to try food or try different activities. I have a paddleboard. I love paddleboarding. Also, when it's raining right now, it's a rainy day. So a day like today, I can just read. I love playing video games and watching movies. I love being like deep into like a story. I love those kind of things. And then I also play chess in my free time. I'm a big chess player, so that's something
That's
I really
awesome.
love to do to wind down.
I like to. Chess is a very leveled and deep game. I know of it
Yeah,
at the very surface level, and it's a very interesting game.
yeah.
What's your chess score? I'm just curious.
USCF. I haven't gone to a tournament in a while. USCF, I think it's about 1,500, but
Oh yeah, you're smoking
online,
me.
online it's about 2,000. But it's been a while. It's been a while since I've really played. I used to go to tournaments. I used to spend a lot of time studying.
Keeps
I
the
had
mind
chess coach.
sharp. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. One of my goal when I was younger, I wanted to be a grandmaster. I don't think I'm going to be a grandmaster, but at one
Hey,
point in my life,
always have time.
if I could be a national master, have a master title, that would be like that's something I would love to like go for in my free time.
Always have goals even outside of your sports. I highly recommend
Yeah,
keeping that
definitely.
there. So, as we're coming to a close on this episode, I always end my episodes with some rapid fire questions. So, just three questions. First thing that comes to mind. What is your favorite pre race meal?
Ooh, bananas. I
Uh,
go like night before. I'm getting pasta. Bananas morning of.
I eat a banana every single morning. It's the best way to jumpstart the day. Um,
Absolutely.
if you could have dinner with any athlete, past or present, who would it be?
Ooh, does David Goggins count? I don't know if it counts
Yeah,
like an athlete. If not, yeah,
oh wait,
David Goggins are. Yeah,
it does count. I'm reading his book right now. The
I love his book.
Never Finished. I'm reading that right now.
Yeah.
What's one piece of gear you cannot live without?
One piece of gear.
Yeah,
Oh, my shoes by far.
as long as they're not
I
slipping off.
Yeah, as long as they're not slipping off. I work at a running shoe store as well, so I'm a huge fan of trying on all the new pairs.
No, awesome, great answers. Do you have anything else you want to leave out there to the guests and some closing remarks or shout outs for anyone listening too?
Uh, Feel free to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is at Logan Patete. Patete is just my name. Uh, if anyone ever has any questions, like feel free to reach out to DM me. My DMs are open. I see and I read all of them. So I'd love to connect with people. And yeah, I'm really thankful to be here. So thanks for having me on here.
No doubt. And with that too, all of Logan's contact information, his IG and his sport info is all going to be in the description so people can find you there. Thank you again so much for taking the time out of your day to jump on this podcast with me. I really appreciate it. This episode will be dropping on Friday, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much. And as always, please subscribe and follow to the show at True to Life Podcast. And I look forward to bringing another episode. Thank you.